Armin often told his friends that he had the best wife in the world. When he said it, he did not say it as a joke or as a habit. He said it with pride and deep emotion. But his life had not always been happy and stable. 10 years earlier, he had been an ordinary young man with simple clothes, limited money, and very big dreams. At that time, Armin was working as a junior teacher in a small private school in Lahore. His salary was just enough to pay the rent of his small apartment and buy basic food. The apartment had one bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a window that faced a noisy street. At night, he could hear the sound of traffic and people talking outside. Sometimes he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about his future. He wanted to build his own academy one day, a place where students from poor families could study at low cost. But every time he calculated his savings, he felt discouraged. The numbers were too small. One rainy evening changed everything. Armin entered a quiet bookstore near his school to escape the heavy rain. The smell of books always made him feel calm. As he walked between the shelves, he reached for a novel at the same moment as another hand. He quickly pulled his hand back and said, "Sorry." The girl standing beside him smiled and said, "It's okay. You can take it." He noticed her simple white dress and the way her eyes shone with kindness. Her name was Sarah. They began to talk about the book they both wanted to read. She told him that she loved stories about hope and courage. Armin laughed softly and said he liked stories about people who started from nothing and built something meaningful. They discovered that they both worked as teachers in different schools nearby. Because the rain was still falling, they decided to sit in the small cafe inside the bookstore and continue their conversation. That evening felt natural and easy. They talked about their families, their students, and their dreams. Armin was surprised at how comfortable he felt speaking to her. Before leaving, they agreed to meet again the next Sunday at the same place. Their Sunday meetings became a beautiful routine. Sometimes they discussed books, sometimes they simply shared stories about their week. Sarah was intelligent and thoughtful. She listened carefully when Armin spoke about his dream of opening an academy. Many people had told him that it was unrealistic, but Sarah never laughed. Instead, she said, "Every big building starts with one brick. Why not start with one room?" Her belief slowly gave him courage. After 1 year of friendship, Armin realized that he did not want to imagine his future without her. He asked her to marry him in the same bookstore where they had first met. It was not a grand proposal. He simply said, "I don't have much money, but I have honest intentions. Will you build a life with me?" Sarah smiled with tears in her eyes and said yes. Their wedding was small and simple. There were no expensive decorations, no luxury hall, and no designer clothes. But there was happiness. After marriage, they moved into Armin's small apartment. The first few months were sweet but challenging. They carefully planned their expenses. Sarah cooked delicious meals with limited ingredients. In the evenings, they sat together on the floor, drinking tea and talking about their future academy. Then one unexpected problem arrived. The school where Armin worked faced financial difficulties and closed suddenly. He lost his job without warning. For several weeks, he searched for another position, but the market was difficult. Each rejection letter made him feel smaller. He stopped talking about his dreams. He avoided meeting friends because he felt ashamed. Sarah noticed the change in him. She saw how he stared silently at the wall, and how he forced a smile during meals. But she never complained. Instead, she quietly began giving tuition classes at home. She told Armin that she wanted to stay busy, but in truth, she wanted to support the household. Every afternoon, a few children came to their apartment to study. The small living room became a temporary classroom. One night, Armin discovered something that deeply touched his heart. He found a small envelope in a drawer containing money. He asked Sarah where it had come from. She hesitated, then admitted that she had sold her gold earrings, a gift from her mother, to add to their savings. She wanted him to use the money to rent a small room and start his academy. Armin felt shocked and emotional. "Those earrings were special to you," he said. Sarah replied gently, "Your dream is more special. We can always buy earrings later." That moment changed him completely. He realized that he was not fighting alone. He had a partner who believed in him more than he believed in himself. With renewed determination, he rented a tiny room near a busy market. There was space for only 10 desks and one whiteboard. The paint on the walls was old, and the fan made noise, but it was a beginning. At first, only 3 students joined. Armin felt nervous on the first day of class, but Sarah stood at the door and smiled proudly. She helped him design simple posters and distributed them in nearby streets. Slowly, more students enrolled. Parents appreciated Armin's dedication and low fees. Within a year, the small room became too crowded, and they had to move to a larger space. Life gradually improved. They were not rich, but they were stable. Every success reminded Armin of Sarah's sacrifice. He often looked at her and wondered how he had been lucky enough to find someone so supportive and strong. Years later, when the academy became well known in the area, people praised Armin for his hard work and vision. They called him an inspiration. But he always knew the truth. Behind his success was a woman who had chosen belief over comfort and partnership over pride. Even now, when he returns home after a long day and sees Sarah preparing tea in the kitchen, he feels the same gratitude he felt in that small apartment years ago. He understands that love is not about perfect moments. It is about standing together during imperfect times. And whenever someone asks him about the secret of his happy life, he smiles and says with complete confidence that he has the best wife ever, because she did not just share his success. She built it with him, brick by brick, dream by dream.